On the previous session, we reviewed differences between product rules and price rules. So, on this particular session, what we're going to do is create our first price rule, a very simple, straightforward price rule. And the scenario, the business requirement would essentially be if the product is a standard bento box bundle, right? And if, let's say, the customer is a new customer, we want to price this particular product at $8. So, thinking about that requirement. So, looking at this product, if you take a look at our current price book, so the standard price is $15. The wholesale price, if they're buying in bulk, is $10. But the requirement is if they are a new customer, we want to offer this product to them at $8. So, thinking about how you would make this work is thinking about, well, how would you determine if the customer is new or existing? So, one, if you're not getting that information from the opportunity, you can also collect this information at the quote level. So on the quote, just create a new field titled labeled customer type and add two pick list options here. So new and existing. So ideally is since you have logic running on that particular field, you always want to make it a required field, right? So that the sales team can answer this question, and based off of that logic, then the pricing can be reflected as such. Like I said, typically you probably could capture this information on the opportunity, and if it lives on the opportunity, you can just create a formula field on the back end to copy over the value and still use the value on the quote to run your price rule. So the first thing we want to do is go to our price rules tab here, click on the new price rule, giving it a descriptive name here. So we're going to label it new customer, bento box, bento, $8. And then we're going to set it as active, the scope here. Now let's think about this. We want this to fire on the quote line editor, so it will be on the calculator in this particular situation, not on the configurator, because that's the configuration screen. We want it to fire on the quote line editor, so we will click on calculate. All of the conditions are going to be met. We should only have one, so we'll just condition, so we'll select all. We don't have an advanced condition, so we don't need that. For now, we'll keep this on the calculator evaluation event on calculate. In the future videos, I'll go over all of these choices, and so that you can have an understanding of when you should select it or not. Since this rule should only fire on one product, we can actually, Salesforce actually has the functionality for you to just select the product that you want it to be applied to right on the price rule creation screen here. So clicking on save. So we talked about the condition, right? The condition is if the product is on the quote line, and then also if they are a new customer. So clicking on price condition, the object that we want to look at, right, is the quote, because that data lives on the quote. And then the field is customer type. So this is another situation where you need to go to Object Manager on price condition, search for the field name field, and then you would add the API name of the new field that you just created, customer type. So pause the video, create your field, make sure your field is created, and then make sure you add the pick list value to the price condition object. So once you've added that pick list value, now you can select it, clicking on equals as the operator. Filter value is going to be, filter type is going to be value. And we want it to be when the customer type equals new. So clicking on save. So now we need to tell it what to do. What should this price rule do? So this price rule is going to update a field on the quote line. We would have already added the product, and now you're on the quote line screen. So you want to see the field on the quote line be updated. So you'll click on quote line. Then the field that we're looking to update again is this list price. So you'll select it. This is the CPQ standard field. So we want to update. If I could take a look here and show you to help it make sense before we activate any rules. So selecting the standard bento box. Right now, the list price is $10, right? Because this is a wholesale quote and that's the price for this. So we want to actually change this value from $10 to be $8. So going back to our rule, that's the reason why we're selecting quote line, because this is a quote line and we need to update this field on the quote line. So we need to update it with the number 8 because we want it to be $8. So let me back out of this quote. So we have our rule as active. I just want to show the negative scenario. So the customer type is blank. So what's expected is when we go in to add this standard bundle, the price should still remain as $10 as it does here. This is the negative scenario, testing all items here. But let's cancel out and let's update this field to new. So now this is a new customer. So let's go back into edit lines and clicking on the bundle, the standard bundle. And as you can see, the list price has been updated to $8. Now, if the rule is you don't want the sales reps to go in and give any additional discount, you could do that. You can make it non-discountable. That's an option. But as you can see, it's $8. So this situation took care of a requirement where only one product needed to be updated. Well, what if you needed to update multiple products, right? So if that's the case, you wouldn't populate this field. You could create a condition and you could say, for example, if the quote line, if it had a product code of that's going to the standard bento box product, so this is the product code, you could always say if the product code equals operator, and you would just copy in the product code and you can create a record for each of the products that it pertains to. That's how you would take care of it if you had multiple products, right? But what if it wasn't just if you have that particular product and if it was a new customer? What if you also had situations where there's a different price for each region in the United States, right? So what if not even each region, what if each state had a different price? That would get very, very, very complicated. It would be hard to maintain so many price rules. So in the next session, we'll go over how to handle a situation like that, lookup queries.